In this recording, we will be covering over the relationship of the feud and reconciliation of Borrello and Michael Franzese. In the world of YouTube and of the mafia, there have been several ups and downs in terms of people creating their own content, mobsters creating their own content, and those who talk about around them. For those who are not familiar with these two individuals, we will summarize each individual. Borrello is an Italian-American criminal and former associate of the Bonanno crime family, one of the main 5 families of Cosa Nostra. He later became a government witness and agreed on it to testify against the crime family, and eventually became an author and a bestseller. He now does podcasts and has been a guest on several different platforms, including DJ Vlad, Anthony Ruggiano, the Beck Lover Channel, and Leo Longevity. Now, as far as Michael Franzese Sr., he's a former mobster and was a Caporegime of the Colombo crime family working under Carmine Persico. He was also the son of the underboss, Sonny Franzese, who was one of the most respected and well-known mobster of his era and has recently passed away at the age of 103. His son, Michael Franzese, had later cooperated with the government and then later turned his life around and is now one of the most well-known, recognized YouTubers who has left the life of Cosa Nostra, has now become one of the highest subscribers content when it comes to the world of organized crime and storytelling. He has been on several different platforms, even from the gaming channel. His story's been told on infographics and many more different platforms, and is still one of the most respected people who has left the lifestyle and also wants to denounce the lifestyle of organized crime, but is not afraid to tackle the subject, especially when it's brought to his attention. Now, starting back in the early year of 2020, we will go over each channel and pay respect to their channel for having this content to where this feud has started with.
All kinds of different ex-mafia guys, ex-mobsters, ex-criminals, ex-gangsters. I mean, when you're referring to these stories and these fake stuff, I mean, do you want to elaborate?
I'm going to elaborate a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to, the guy's trying to do the right thing. He's a Christian now, changing his life, the whole 9 yards. I understand that, but, he's really lying to the public a lot.
Who?
Mike Franzese. I don't want to go off on him too bad, but, he says these stories. He's the richest mob boss ever. That's the biggest bullshit I ever heard in my life. He did not have more money than John Sr. He did not have more money than 90 guys. He's fabricating stories.
Did you ever know him?
I knew his nephew. I actually slapped his nephew. He owed me $9,000. Forget it, was a whole nother nightmare. But I never knew him personally. But he's talking about a gas scam. That's the only thing he could talk about. He wasn't a violent guy. He was an acting captain for his father. He wasn't a boss. I don't want to embarrass him, but just claim what you are. You know what I'm saying? Don't make yourself this big. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was a mob boss. I wasn't. I had a crew under me. I had 10 guys that worked for me. Not to make me a mob boss. He was an acting captain. He had a crew, and that's it. He goes on TV now saying all this stupid shit. It's annoying.
And what's his story in the shelf? I wish I was up to speed. He went in, right? He got.
It just bothers me.
Was he ever arrested? He was arrested, right?
Yeah, he did 7 years, but it's not about that. I don't care about that. Just be real. You say you're not a rat, but you're on national TV saying all rat things. It don't make no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Just be who you are. You know what I'm saying? I'm here telling you what I am, what I did. I'm not going to fabricate you and never tell you, both. He's just getting me a little mad because you're not being who you are. Me and Eli are talking about this guy's not being real.
Moving on to the next subject, a lot of comments, a lot of controversy, a lot of people agreeing with you and a lot of people very disagreeing with you.
Right.
If that even makes perfect, if that's even English. A lot of people also disagreeing about some of the comments on the first episode that we had regarding Michael Franzese.
Right.
A lot of the comments, and I'll read some of them from one of my viewers, Frodo Jack 2. Frodo Jack, he wrote, Forbes magazine listed him as one of the top 50 richest mob bosses in America in 1986. He didn't call himself a mob boss. In his interviews, Franzese always makes it clear that he was a Caporegime. So this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, listen, let me explain to him, okay? A guy like Mike Franzese, he's a professional con artist. And what he is this. He is not being himself. What I'm saying is he definitely had money. He made money. He was definitely a rich guy. He was not making $10 million a week like he says. He was not a official captain. He was an acting captain for his father. That's all I'm trying to explain.
Michael Franzese. So just for the audience to know, the way I found out about Gene is that Vlad TV interviewed Gene's partner. So Gene has a show with John. Is his name Aliti or Alite?
Alite, you could say. John Alite. Right.
John Alite. So he has a wonderful YouTube show called the John and Gene Show, or the Gene and John Show.
Johnny and Gene.
Yeah, and it's a great discussion. And I came across you through Vlad originally, and I was just shocked. I'd never seen anyone your age from the Mafia, and I was like, this is really interesting to find out about. But anyway, the guy who first came on Vlad's show was actually Michael Franzese, or Franzese, who was, you could tell the audience more about him. You have an interesting view about him, and I know you've talked about it before, but I just want to hear it.
I'm not trying to say I was the biggest, baddest guy in the street, but I was really out there. A guy like him, what I call him is a privileged gangster. He's like a John Gotti Jr. He's like just a guy that's born into the life and doesn't really have to earn his bones. So for a guy like him, that if his father wasn't a legendary mobster, he probably would never be a criminal. That's all I was saying. I'm just trying to bring out because he tells these stories. I know so many people that know that case. He wasn't making no $8-10 million a week. He's just trying to make himself bigger than what he is. He was a captain, acting Caporegime. He's framed, all that stuff. But
his father was a killer, though.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's hands down. His father, but that has nothing to do with him. Yeah. Just because his father's a killer don't make him anything. My uncle was a serial killer. That don't mean that I'm a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? It's just like.
There's guys out there, their life did me dirty and this did me dirty. This is what we agreed to. And you're coming on the street, everything isn't going to be the right way all the time. There's a lot of treachery in it, no doubt. There's a lot of backstabbing. Same another thing. In corporate America, we see that. Except in that life, the consequences are a little bit more severe. That's the difference. But, I don't like to put the blame on anybody else and they did this and that. I violated my oath. And I understood that I was going to face some trouble. And I did the bobbing and weaving and the things and, make them believe with the government I was going to cooperate, but then I never did. You people know John Riggi, I'm sure, from here. Does everybody know that name? Okay. John and I were partners on a deal that we had in the city. I won't go into it. But when I was on parole, they picked me up in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, took me to Newark, New Jersey. And they said, we're putting you on the stand. You're going to testify against John Riggi because they were one of the co-defendants on the Giuliani case that got convicted was in the middle of this deal with me and John Riggi, and he blew the whole thing up and put me and John involved in it. And they said, we're going to put you on the stand against Riggi. Well, long story short, I refused that night. I said, I'm not testifying, he's a friend. If you want me to testify, I will, but I'm going to clear him because I did this all, he didn't do it, and I had, my case was done already. So, they put me back on a plane. Within 6 days, I was violated on my parole. That's how it happened. But I'll tell you this, the best thing that ever happened to me was that violation and put me back in prison because then everybody realized I wasn't there to hurt anybody. I'm not testifying against my former associates. That's not what it was all about. But it was a rough ride, I can tell you, throughout all of that. And I will tell you this, and I mean this, you take a good look at me. I'm probably the most blessed, most fortunate person that's ever going to stand up on this stage, because had I been left out to my own and followed the path that I was on and didn't really think this out, I could be dead or in prison for the rest of my life. There's no doubt about it, and I know that. And maybe that's what I deserved at that time. So, okay, I got to make a choice. So there, I beat them several times. After the Giuliani case, within a few months, they indict me on this whole gas case. The major witness on the Giuliani case against me was the major witness in the gas case. We destroyed him on trial in Giuliani. That's why I was acquitted. So now I went to my lawyer. I have leverage with the government. I beat their major witness. They want a conviction on me. I beat them 5 times. Let's take a plea. I'll do some time. I'll marry Camille. I'll give the government some money. When I get out of prison, I'll move out to California. I'll have parole and probation. Use that as an excuse not to meet with anybody. Maybe after 10 or 12 years, they'll forget about me. That was my whole thing. That's what I thought out. But it's not always goes the way you think it will, right? So I marry her in July. December, I take the plea. I think I said this already. 10-year sentence, $15 million restitution. I gave them the plane, the helicopter, the whole bit. I go off to do my time. Told you what happened, did the 5 come out, and then violate and go back in. After the Riggi thing, go back in. The first night they put me in prison back, they said to me, Franzese, we're done with you. We're not going to ask you to cooperate anymore. We're finished. We violated your parole. We took every penny that you got. We're indicting you on another RICO case. You will never see the street again. They bring me to MDC in LA, federal jail, ready to transport me back to Brooklyn in the morning to face the judge on the violation. And they put me in a hole. And people, I want to tell you this, I don't mind saying it, it was the worst night of my life. I was scared that night. I said, wow, another racketeering case? They took all my money? People, you don't beat these cases with a public defender. I spent millions defending myself. I said, they can't put me out on the yard. I said, they got all this nonsense going around me. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this 6x8 cell. I said, my wife, how's she going to wait for me now? 27 years old, we got 2 little babies. I said, I'm going to lose the girl I did all of this for. I want to tell you this. I used to demean people that were suicidal. I called them weak. How do you not face up to your trouble? I don't do that anymore. Now, I wasn't suicidal that night. I wasn't that brave. But I said, man, I visited my father, 25 years in prison. I already did 5. I got to have this woman coming in to the vending machine, standing online for 2 hours. I got to live like this, like an animal in a 6x8 cell for the rest of my life. I wanted to lay my head on that cot and just not wake up. That was my mentality at night. Just let me go to sleep. That was it. And I'm laying there, and I'm not going to get into all of this. This is not the time. But I'm laying there, and I was done. Prison guard walked by my cell. He opened up the flap. He said, Franzese, you okay? You don't look good. I said, man, get away from me. I don't want to see any of you guys tonight. Leave me alone. So he leaves, right? He comes back about 2 minutes later, and he pushes something through the slot on the door, falls on the floor, I hear kind of a thump. And I look down. I was kind of groggy, and it was a Bible. And all I want to tell you is this. I spent 29 months and 7 days in confinement. And people, I'll tell you this, it's not easy. Isolation is not easy. I am dead set against that for young people because it could destroy them. I saw a lot of bad things go on down there with guys that just couldn't handle it. I don't knock them. It was tough. You know, I got through. And I came out of there a person of faith. You know, I am a Christian, certainly not perfect, but my belief is very, very strong. And I've been saying that around the world for the last 25 years. And I want to tell you how meaningful this is for me. When I walked out in '95, everybody predicted my death. You read the inside cover of my book, Blood Covenant. Guys, you want to read a mob story? I don't know if they have it here. If you want to read a mob story, it's a mob story. And ladies, you want to read a love story, it's a love story. A story about me and my wife, how we got together. But it's really how a life can be transformed. But read the inside cover. Everybody predicted my death. Life magazine, quote, if he holds to what he has promised, will mark the first time a high-ranking member of the mafia will publicly walk away from his past and live. Ed McDonald, head of the Organized Crime Strike Force, my prosecutor, he went on national TV and he said straight out, excuse me, if he holds to what he has promised, no, that was Life magazine. Ed McDonald said, I wouldn't want to be in Michael Franzese's shoes. I don't think his life expectancy is very substantial. Very diplomatic, you know, predicting my demise. Bernie Welch, the FBI agent, he wasn't diplomatic. He followed him to the podium and he said straight out, Franzese will get whacked. And I think you know what that means in street terms. My mother, God rest her soul, she said, I pray for my son every night. She was so worried, no one to talk on the street, and being married to my dad all those years. She didn't think I was going to make it. And that was in 1995. I told you in 1975, when I went into that room and took that oath, there was 6 of us. Today, I'm the only one alive. Not one of those men died of natural causes. All 5 of them were murdered. We had a war in our family. You probably know this. Colombo was 91 to 94. A bunch of guys got killed. I think 18 guys became informants. Another 63 went to jail for some period of time or another. And, you know, a little bit more proof that when you have a different plan in your life, things work out. You saw the Fortune magazine article was written in '86, 50 biggest and most powerful mob bosses in the country. Huge article. Half the magazine, they featured 6 of us. I was one of the 6. And they actually had a chart with the 50 of us on there, according to rank, wealth, and power. I was number 18, youngest guy on the list, 5 behind John Gotti. Gotti was number 13. He hadn't been made boss yet. And people, don't ask me how they make a list like that. It was ridiculous. They didn't ask for our tax returns. It was just, they threw names up there and whatever. It sold a lot of magazines, but it was stupid, believe me, like so many things they do. But I'll tell you what's not stupid about that list. Out of the list of 50 today, 30 some odd years later, 48 of those men are dead. Number 49, I believe he's still in prison. He's older than me. And number 50 is here tonight. So to say that I'm fortunate or blessed, thank you. It's really an understatement.
Between these two individuals, Michael Franzese is not known for making public feuds with other people of organized crime. However, he does have a history when it comes to making remarks against those who have commented them. He has made responses against Samuel the Bull Gravano in the past, especially when they had certain heated discussions about whether if he cooperated with law enforcement or not, and other different issues that has been kept amongst each individuals. And you can see more on the Patrick Bet-David show and other different platforms about how these two's tensions have really rose to the occasion of them not getting along. However, as the years went by, Franzese and Gravano have reconciled their relationships and have gone to each other's own show to show their relationship has grown over time, and now they consider themselves as friends. Now, as far as Gene Borrello, he himself also is a friend with Samuel the Bull Gravano, but did his relationship work out with Michael Franzese years down the road? We will wait and see. Franzese is not a person that's not known for making public feuds. However, he's, like we mentioned before, he has had his feuds with Gravano and reconciled, but one individual he has not won the relationship with is the Philadelphia reputed mob boss, Joey Merlino. Joey Merlino, as we mentioned sometimes on this channel, he does not like anybody, regardless if they had snitched or cooperated with law enforcement. If anyone went to jail or not, Merlino considers them a rat. That goes to Gravano, Franzese, and many other people that are considered informants. Franzese and Gravano did welcome Joey Merlino on the platform, but as soon as Joey Merlino did start his podcast, Merlino has denounced many public figures to those who welcome him and that he considers rats. So therefore, he denounced both Gravano and Franzese. Franzese also made his comments or remarks against Merlino as well. Michael Franzese last year made a video called Joey Merlino Don't Flatter Yourself, in which he made his response in regards to Merlino's comment, and not just against Michael Franzese himself, but also towards his father, Sonny Franzese, making the remarks that you could not shine my father's shoes on his worst day, dedicating that whole video against Merlino. That has been the only person that Franzese has made a public feud with after Merlino made the attack against him first. Other different mobsters or alleged mobsters have not ran into that circle as much. Now, as far as Gene Borrello, Franzese recently had Gene Borrello on their platform, and now you will get a chance to hear from Michael Franzese himself welcome Gene Borrello with open arms, and also due to the connection of Anthony Ruggiano Jr., who has affiliations with Michael Franzese, discovered that Gene Borrello is related to Fat Andy Ruggiano and Anthony Ruggiano Jr., and therefore Franzese was able to get in contact with the Ruggiano family members and was able to patch things up with Gene Borrello. And now these two individuals have went from having a public feud to now a public friendship. And you could also watch that video on Michael Franzese's channel and see the dynamics between Gene Borrello and Michael Franzese. So it goes to show you that many individuals in the YouTube space, especially when it comes to alleged or reputed mobsters, that they can reconcile in the public with certain other figures, but it does become a very hostile environment, especially since these come from different crime family sanctions. Some may still be in the life, and it's also a competitive environment. But luckily, this is a breath of fresh air since Franzese has patched things up with Samuel the Bull Gravano, and now you can also see him patching his relationship with Gene Borrello. Do you ever think that Merlino would reconcile with Franzese or Gene Borrello? Because he still has denounced both Borrello, Franzese, and Gravano. Only time will tell if these individuals will come together. But we just wanted to make a video to show you that besides public feuds, that there are certain reconciliations in the mobster world on the YouTube space. This is Infinite Productions, and thank you for watching for our video.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and check out more of our content. Feel free to give your feedback and suggestions on what we should do next in the comments. This is Infinite Productions. We love ya.